For my underdogs, the ones willing to pay the cost. Even when we're up, we gotta take a loss. Underdogs are always against the odds. I'ma use this opportunity to do it for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. I'ma do this for my underdogs. Yeah, my underdogs.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rec Center Podcast. I'm Kenny Edwards, joined with my co-host Lorenzo Parham. I forgot one thing. Everybody make sure click that subscribe button right underneath. We thank you for that. But back to the regularly scheduled program. Lo, how you been, baby?
I've been doing good, Ken, man. Took a little break, had a little summer vacation. We get minor vacations, Ken. Take a little summer vacation. Excited to get back into recording. We got a dope episode for today. First, let me give a shout out to Antoine Thomason for coming on, man. Antoine, you sparked a lot of debates, a lot of Facebook arguments, a lot of back and forth. I'm going to say this. Your list is not stamped unless the Rec Center stamps your list, right? So unless me and Ken stamp the list, it's not stamped, right? So Antoine, definitely shout out, man, for bringing back a lot of memories for all of the guys within the Oakland Bay Ruth generation. But Ken, I'm excited about this one.
Me too.
Big bro called me and said, bro, how the hell you got a podcast? And I ain't known it, right? I ain't known it. I said, hey, you know what? I don't know where you was at in this order. We've been saying that for a minute. So I got to hear his story, man. So when we tell his story, I'm going to try not to speak too much on my brother's story, man, because I want him to tell his own story. I want Mike to tell his own story. I want Tone to tell his own story. So we're going to try to keep it where we not talking too much about their story, right? But Gene, welcome to the podcast, Gene Denard.
Thank you guys for having me, man. It's a blessing to be here and blessing for you guys to be putting this forward for everybody to have a podium to speak on about the past, man. Great job.
Hey, so one of the things I'm glad you're here, man, because they say we don't tap into your generation that much, right? They said we did Zoe, that we've shied away from it. So I'm glad to bring you back and let's hear about it from that 80s OAL era and the younger Oakland Bay Ruth era, from when you played to your brothers to coaching, and now you still coaching. So we get to hear a lot of info across the board, Ken, on what's going on with Gene.
Anybody
right?
that know, Gene done seen all of our guests play. He probably done coached some of them. So his opinion is going to actually matter,
right? So Gene, it's the Rec Center, right? We know your brothers and them came up in the village, but did you start there as well, or did y'all come after you came through playing?
No, we moved into the village when I was like 6 years old.
Okay.
So I'm born. Well, we started off. My parents were, we lived in Brookfield, so we were a Brookfield family for a minute, and then we moved into 65th Village, like I said, when I was about 6 years old. And from there, that's what we called home, man. It was rough times, real rough times.
Got it. So when you first started, right? When you first started playing, was any of the teams that was around back then at Greenman Field? Was the Spray Mart across the street still when you started playing baseball? Spray
Mart wasn't even a team when I was playing.
Who was
my
the
first? I'm sorry, go ahead.
What were the good teams when you were playing, Babe Ruth?
Well, before I even got to Babe Ruth, I played in what we call the Housing Authority League. That was our rec center. We had a big old Housing Authority office. We had pool tables in there, and it was like 65th, 69th, West Oakland, and it was somebody else because I played for I forgot what we called. It was called TPP. And we were purple and gold. Coach Melvin, shout out to Coach Melvin, if he's still with us. I haven't seen him in years. And we used to play against Fat Dog and everybody from the village, Lil Durrell, like I said, Byron Pachette, Fat Gene, and all of those guys over there. It was tough back then. So when I left.
That sounds crazy though. Like that sounds worse than playing that Greenman. Like I got to go play the Housing Authority League in West Oakland.
Yes.
Coming from East Oakland. That sounds crazy.
We used to play at
They probably catch
Lowell
the bus
Park.
to get there.
Oh, some of them did, but we had the guys that stayed outside of the village. They caught the bus in, but we had like a little a bus that transported us to each field. So the head of the rec center, we would all meet at the rec center, and then they would take us to the games and stuff. And man, like I said, it was some tough times. You playing against all the D boys in 69th, some of the D boys in West Oakland. And there used to be some games, boys. They used to talk a whole lot of shit. And I'm sorry for saying that, but they used to talk a whole lot of shit, man.
I can imagine.
And yes, dudes were packing back then.
That's what I was gonna say. Did the game stay on the field? Did the shit talking stay on the field, or did it cross over sometime?
Oh, what I remember, it stayed on the field.
Okay.
Now, if you got caught outside and you was the one talking shit and your team won and their team lost, oh yeah, you caught it then.
Oh yeah. So basically, if you thought you was going to the movie at Eastmont Mall after talking all that shit, it was bad for you, right?
Yeah, they say, you won the game, but you didn't win the fight.
Got it. But how was the competition? Was it competitive back then? As far as like what was it all sports involved? Like was it this season we doing baseball, then basketball, and football, playing against the housing authorities all the time?
I only played baseball because I didn't start my football, career until the 10th grade, and basketball, same thing. I started that a little bit sooner, but it wasn't on that level. So it was just more so baseball. My talents wasn't that good.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I couldn't left hand dribble, shoot with the left hand. No, none of that stuff. I didn't learn that until 7th grade.
But in baseball, was it competitive?
Yeah. You had dudes, like I say, you had dudes that was throwing cheese. Back in my era, the main pitch was a fastball. If you could not hit a fastball, you couldn't make nobody sing. You couldn't hit a curveball, you couldn't make nobody sing. Because once they knew you could hit the fastball, curveball was coming. If you could hit the curveball, you couldn't break the starting lineup.
Wow, that's a different.
It was a 2-pitch lead. You're gonna get a fastball, and when you get it, you better not miss it. Because if you do, you set up with the curveballs. Because I'm gonna tell you like this: there was cats, like I say, Lil D had a wicked curveball. Hook, Demetrius Mitchell, wanted the fastballs and a curveball to go with it.
Hold on, when you say Demetrius Mitchell, you talking about Hook?
Yeah.
So Hook also was a good baseball player as well?
Man, yes. I thought he was going to go to school for baseball, but he wound up being, as they say, some people say, a better basketball player. But in baseball, he was no joke. No joke. Hey,
that's impressive, Ken, because that speaks to the athletes that we had that back then, right? Because if Gene would have said that, I would have never knew Hook was good in baseball. I never heard it before.
Think
right?
about it though, back when you're young, if you're an athlete, you're an athlete. You could pretty much play them all.
When we were coming up, you had to play 2 to 3 sports. It wasn't just playing one sport like it is now. Well, no, I'm just a baseball player. No, I played 2 sports, baseball and football. That was me. I gave up basketball in the 10th grade when I couldn't dunk. That was it. But everybody else during my era, 2 to 3 sports.
So coming up and you playing it, help us out. Was Oakland Bay Ruth around when the housing authority was coming up? Was it still Oakland Bay Ruth around?
It wasn't called Oakland Bay Ruth. It was just called Little League. So it was like the city sponsored, a league. And the guys that were head coaches were like umpires. Chris Kiriakou, Harold Jefferson, Curtis McCall. All those guys were umpires when I played.
Damn,
so that's how I know all those guys. Yeah.
Harold wow, he been around.
Because what Markulis Sr. did was all the guys that played OAL baseball, he gave them summer jobs. And that's what their summer job was to umpire. So the teams that I grew up playing with, and the team I played on was Seafood Grotto. There was Trailer Trucking, C&T. There was Crowell Plaster. That was a good team, Crowell. There was Oakland Oaks, New York Life, Compton Sporting Good, which was turned into Porterhouse, that you guys may know of as Porterhouse. It was Compton Sporting Good at first.
You ever heard of Porterhouse before, Ken?
And then they turned into J. You heard of J&H?
No.
Okay, well, those are the teams that was around when I played. So the top teams was and Allen Temple. Allen Temple was around too.
Of course, they was around. They that's our rival still, man. That's our rival still.
But Allen Temple was coached by different people. They was coached by Mr. Alexander, who later on started coaching Crowell. The Alexander brothers, they coached Allen Temple. Steve coached at C&T. And then Steve Webster coached at C&T. And I forgot who was Trailer Trucking. I forgot who coached them. But Ted coached at Crowell. And Big Frank was my coach. And, man, we played against all the teams like the Giant Stars and Reds and all that stuff. You know, they couldn't handle it. And, you know, there was other teams, but Allen Temple, C&T, Seafood Grotto, and Crowell was like, and I forgot, KTVU.
Oh yeah, I remember KTVU.
They were called Bill Wright, Mr. Jesse Owens.
Yeah. So, I remember them, right?
Yeah.
But so around what era and what time did they switch from it being Little League to Oakland Bay Ruth?
Bay Ruth came about, I want to say when Mikey and them was about 9 years old.
That's when they went to the Oakland Bay Ruth.
So when Dave Stewart and Ricky Henderson and them was playing, that was that around you?
It was the same thing that I was playing. It was just,
okay, so
Little League.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. It makes sense now. Hey, now that makes a lot of sense, right? So so after you played, you get to high school. Was high school?
Well, I put it before you go on with it. I would say like this: the way Griffin Field is now, it wouldn't have been that way back with us. You know where the creek is at Griffin Field?
No, where's the creek at?
You know where the play structure is now?
Yeah. Okay.
Behind there's another fence.
Yeah.
Between the two houses.
Right.
That was our home run fence. So the fence they have up now, that we would have had been like a home run.
Was y'all hitting home runs?
Yes. Home plate was where the snack bar is right now.
So that's farther back.
The door,
that's hella far. That's hella far, G.
Listen to me. The door where you enter the snack bar.
Yeah.
That was home plate. You know, that close to the shed.
Yeah.
And left field was the creek fence. We used to hit the ball off the fence at the creek.
At 12?
Man, at 10, 11, and 12, man.
Wow. So basically, you one of the ones that kind of like, when they changed it, like, oh, y'all generation kind of soft rap, right? Because
we were very upset. Because like I said, we had dudes that would go off that fence with ease.
Why'd they move it in?
Because y'all didn't possess that power we had. Owen Jones. So Owen Jones was moved back because of us. We used to hit it over and off Jones' fence like it was nothing, man. So y'all don't even remember Redwood Heights had a field.
Nah, that's where I first played at. Redwood Heights is where I first played T-ball.
They kept us from playing over there because we was hitting the ball way too far. They said, no, we can't have this. Too many balls are going over here breaking windows and stuff. So they took that field away from us.
That's funny. Yeah. Owen Jones was always a short park, though.
No, they moved it back for y'all. Like I said, we used to light it up.
Owens, hold on, they moved it back. So how close was it? Because it's hella small now, no, right?
You know where the warning track is?
That's
where the fence used to be. Where the warning track starts, that's where it used to be.
Owen Jones was like shorter than Concordia.
Yeah, no.
I mean, not Concordia, McConnell.
No, I mean McConnell, still McConnell.
Yeah, McConnell is, you could bunt it out of left field.
Are you talking about the big field or little field?
At McConnell?
Yeah.
The 14-15 field.
That's Arroyo, sir.
Going in which direction though, because there's two fields over there.
Yeah, Arroyo is the little kid field.
No, Arroyo is
McConnell
McConnell. The name of it is McConnell's Field.
Yeah,
but the little field is the baby field, man. You
That's
know,
Arroyo.
yeah, that's Arroyo.
Yeah.
I'm talking about where Castlemont
the one with the big old fence with the high gate, right?
Yeah, it's like 20 feet.
No, well, yeah.
Ken, don't say that, Ken.
I never went out. I never went out.
Don't make it seem like a basketball. Ken, for folk legend, and we never in home run. We got to make that shit seem far as hell.
But look,
right?
I don't proclaim myself as a baseball player, so I'm good.
How you not get it out of McConnell though, dude? How you not go over that fence?
Dude, I used to be at. They used to throw me curve. They used to throw me curveballs.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they used to pitch me outside all the time. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay, so go to right field.
That's not 200 feet.
I had a dude on my squad when I was 15 years old named Kelton King, who used to tear the right field fence up, straightaway center, and left field.
Yeah.
Dudes like Steve Hosey.
Yeah,
Steve Hosey used to tear that field up. Frazier, like I say, Hook and everybody, Tony Red. Dude, we used to go out of McConnell. It used to be like playing dome. It was serious business over there. Our games used to be packed. You know, down the left field line.
Yeah.
It was people down the left field line, all in the stands, standing behind the backstop, right field line, right field fence. They used to be out there, man. Saturdays and Sundays, they used to be out there.
So this is the thing that we ran into, and we were talking to Twan about it too. It's like, so you have that type of energy, 14, 15, Oakland Bay Ruth, like you playing a bunch of energy from T-ball all the way up until you get to 14, 15. And then when you get to high school OEL, right? Being a person that played in the OEL and coached in the OEL, was it a big difference when you got to high school on what baseball was to Oakland?
Pretty much. Coming up through Little League and Bay Ruth, I didn't lose much. So when you got to high school, you know, you playing against all the guys you played with in Bay Ruth, and now they've gotten bigger and stronger, and now you're losing games. I lost more games at Fremont than I did from 10 years old to 15s. I lost more games at Fremont than I did during that time.
Yeah, same here.
So it was like I said, some tough times when you going against dudes like, you know, Brian Johnson at Skyline, you know, Josh and Terrell Laurie, Dexter at Tech. You got Freddie Moores, Clyde Ignock, Shannon Reeves at Castlemont. You had Vernon and who was a couple of the dudes? Vernon. I can't even think of everybody else that was on that MAC team. You had dudes that was cutting loose, man. And
Freddie Morris could play baseball?
Yeah. Oh. Fred was just slow. But Fred could hit. Yep. He would talk smack with you.
He definitely going to talk smack.
Yeah.
I didn't know
that was Freddie.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so overall, the talent was spread out in OAL and baseball back then.
Yeah. Any day you get beat by any team, whether it was MAC or Castlemont, you would get beat.
So how did that drop off though? Like I always try to picture how did it high school baseball, like I know as a point when you start coaching high school baseball, some of the players was going over to Encinal to play baseball, going to different leagues to play. When did you see the drop off in OAL baseball happening?
When I came back from playing in the minors, that's when I saw a big drop off. This was 92. So I took an assistant job with Mr. Crawford Johnson at MAC. And I'm thinking that, you know, MAC is going to have these athletes like when I left. And it just wasn't like that. MAC had just totally fallen off the phase of the earth as far as baseball. They had some guys there, but they didn't have, I would say, that 1-2 punch that was needed to take them over, to the top of the OAL. And everybody else still had it. Castlemont still had, some good guys, but the powerhouses at that time were still the same. Tech, Fremont, Skyline, Oakland High. That's what it's always have been, from when I entered high school and when I left. Like I said, when I came back, it's when I saw the decline in the McClymonds and the Castlemonts. But everybody else was still there. It's still pretty decent.
I wonder when we think about that, and then as you go to coaching, right? Did you ever try to be like, you know what? Let me try to like build one of these. But due to your connection, then Oakland Bay Ruth, did you say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try to build one of them before I come to, let's say, Tech, when you did get to Tech and start coaching, right? Let's see, so you started back from minor league in 92. What year did you start coaching at Tech?
Tech was, I want to say the 94 year.
Okay.
94 or 93. Yeah,
okay,
but
I think that's about the time I met you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I got tricked into coaching, man.
I
wasn't trying to coach, man. Ted Sanders, he had did a favor for me. I was being a little knucklehead at the time, and some stuff happened at Griffin Field, and Ted didn't get me in trouble, I should say. So he said, "Gee, I need you to do me a favor." I said, "Yeah, I'd do anything for you, Ted," not knowing what he was going to have, in store for me. He said, "Man, I need you to coach a team for me." I said, "Ted, I don't know nothing about no coaching, man." He said, "Gee, I just need you to coach for me." So Ted had a team called Sanders Tax.
I remember Sanders Tax. Red
and gray, baby. That's right. So me and my boy, like I said, "Okay, Ted, I do it for you, because you've done a lot for me over the years." So I did it. He bamboozled me into doing that. So, and then it was a team of, man, that kids nobody wanted, and they were some good kids, man. They were some good kids. They was from the Dubs.
Yeah, they had a lot of them. They lost a lot of games.
Man, Sanders.
A whole bunch of teams a lot of people from the 20s was on that team.
Yeah. Yeah, my boys Eddie and all of them. Yep.
They was on the team.
I had those
right?
guys, and we just took that team and just had fun, man. That's all. It took some time for the guys to warm up to me and Marcus, and then once they found that we was legit with what we were saying, they started playing for us, man. And I can't remember this guy's name, but I had a dude that threw left-handed and right-handed.
Wow. That was DeMarcus. His name was DeMarcus.
Yeah.
Demo.
Yeah.
Demo.
So him, like I say, him, Eddie. Eddie's the only one that I remember because I've seen Eddie lately, and Eddie was always the quiet one. And but they were real good kids at the time, man. Despite what happened, in their future endeavors, they were real good kids at the time, man. Knuckleheads, but real good kids. And then so that's what started me in the coaching. And then so I was doing Sanders Tax and McClymonds at the same time. So I was going back and forth. So like I said, Crawford Johnson, he asked me to come in and help him. He thought that I would be a good fit, for the guys at MAC. And, it turned out to be, a great experience for me.
Got it. Hey, when you got on Sanders Tax team, right? And let's say you coach at Sanders Tax, you're in the same age division as T-Tone, right? Did you ever try to bring T-Tone over to come play with you at Sanders Tax?
No. I left them alone, but the thing about it is I had Tone and Mike frustrated when I was at Sanders Tax.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yeah, they were my little brother. So
scouting report?
It's up there, baby. So I frustrated them and most of the guys that played with them because I knew them. And, it was just, we were in some competitive games. We got beat a lot, but they didn't walk over us. We was not that team that just got walked over. We got beat, because they just had more power than us, more better pitching, better fielders, better hitters. But we gave everybody, a run for their money. We upset some teams that thought they were just going to run over us, We shocked them, but it was a cool experience for me.
Absolutely, man. I wonder about. I was wondering about that, right? So, when you did become coach, I just got a couple of questions for you. Because we go drop into a couple of conversations that's been talked about throughout the rec center and on Facebook, right? So you heard, before we get into that, you heard Twan Thomason argument his shortstops, right? His best shortstops, right? He had Cesar. I said the name right, Ken?
Yep, Cesar.
Cesar, Terrell
Neighbor.
Taylor, and JR. Hold on, you didn't let me finish.
No, I'm just saying
Cesar
Cesar last name.
Oh, Cesar, Terrell Taylor, and Terrence Taylor, and Terrell Taylor, right? J.R. Taylor and Terrell Taylor. You saw all three of these shortstops play, right? If you had to be a coach on some non-biased shit and you had to pick the shortstop for your team, who would you go with out of that three?
Well, Terrell, I had his brother Adrian. And
I remember Adrian.
So Terrell was a good ball player. Adrian was a good ball player. JR was good. Cesar held his own. I'm not going to be biased because Cesar played for me, but
I did tell Lo you was going to pick Cesar because you coached him at Tech. I did say that.
I mean, Cesar was the man. He was sweet. JR was sweet too. You know what? I'm just going to leave it at that. I can't pick one because those three guys, during their time, they played exceptionally well.
But there's only one shortstop in the lineup.
Yeah, it's all-star, Gene. You the all-star coach here,
all-stars.
Gene.
They sitting in the dugout. You got to pick.
Somebody got, when you writing that lineup out.
I'm picking my dude, man. That's
you
my
going with
dude.
Cesar.
I'm going with Cesar, man.
I'm going with Cesar.
I'm going with Cesar because
I don't remember. I remember
know
Cesar being really, really good. I'm not taking nothing away
Kenny,
from Cesar.
where was you at?
But I don't remember him being Terrell or JR.
Hold on, Ken. So you got him, you cutting him.
Yes. No, but I'm not saying Cesar wasn't good. Like Cesar was, to even be in this conversation, Cesar was great. But man, I just seen Terrell and JR just do some. Man.
I'm gonna tell you the secret. The only reason why Cesar name is not ringing like JR's is because JR wouldn't play it in the minors and Cesar didn't. And the reason why Cesar didn't, and I don't care who hears this, because of Rob Bruno. Rob Bruno killed my boy when he took him to play with his squad, and he ran him into the dirt. Dude busted his ankle, busted his butt for Rob Bruno, and never was the same after that. That's the reason why.
What year was that for
Was that travel ball? Was he playing travel ball?
That was travel ball, and that was Cesar's last year. His senior year, he ran around with a limp because, he busted his ankle up there with Rob Bruno. And to this day, I don't even think that Rob Bruno had reached back out to Cesar, check in on him, see how he was doing. He never did that. And to my knowledge, to this day, it still hasn't been done.
That's some cold coaching.
And that was a cold piece right there, man.
That's cold coaching.
It's messed up.
So Cesar. Who you taking, Lo?
I never saw Cesar play.
Okay.
I never saw Cesar play.
He was good. No, Cesar, I mean, he was on the World Series teams and he was good. He was good. He batted third.
But here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. And I got Gene perspective of it, right? Who Gene coached him, right? So it might be a little biased there. Like when I'm picking Mikey and when I'm picking Mikey,
me picking Terrell is biased too.
Some people say Low with some bias to it, right? Now then the discussion is, did Twan Thomason have any bias, right?
He said Cesar was his guy. They won World Series together.
Cesar was sweet, but
it's hard to go non-biased.
If I'm picking a team, you can best believe all three of them on my squad. I'm not leaving either one of them off.
So what that means
I just put JR at second and Terrell at third.
We'll find a spot for you.
Yeah.
What that means is this: I'm pitching JR, Cesar's at short, Terrell at second.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay, then that rotation stays.
That's how it's going.
that rotation stays in effect.
That's how it's going.
Yeah.
They all get a chance to play short.
So, and we talk about this all the time, man, and how you help like what Tech baseball is today, still today, it started with you coming over and building that pipeline. Aaron Early said he built the East Oakland pipeline with the baseball. But Gene Denard built the pipeline for baseball coming into Tech, right? And then they still running the way they is today. How did you get all of these kids from East Oakland to come play baseball for you at Tech? What was the selling point for that?
The Paideia program and the health, engineering, all those academies. At that time, when I came in, because I left MAC. I was at MAC for 2 years, and then I came over to Tech. So when I came over to Tech, the selling point for Tech, and which really wasn't the selling point, Tech was the best school next to going to a private school because of all the academies they had. They had computer academy, engineering academy, health academy. And like I said, the Paideia program was what you would enter before you get to one of those academies. So in the 9th grade, you'd be in the Paideia program. So my thing was, when I sat down with Herman Scott, I said, Scott, man, what are we going to do? How are we going to get kids in? And he said, well, let's try to get them in through these programs. I mean, this is our selling point. And so we would go out to the games and tell everybody, we're building a program over at Tech, if you can get in, this is how you should do it. Apply for the Paideia program. Like Zoe said, as far as the cutting them side deals, that was our side deals right there, was the Paideia program, selling that program. And everybody that wanted to come to Tech, that's what they applied for, was the Paideia program. And that's how we got all those guys in. And we told them, I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be no run through the park type thing. You're going to have to work. So if you want to come play baseball and, play on the top level, that's what we were doing. We moved to that level. This is what you're going to have to do. This is going to be your part. Your part is going to be the education. And we'll take care of everything else. And once I got guys in there and these dudes making 3.4s, 3.6s in these programs, it wasn't even a selling point. How do I get in? This is what you do. And that's all that I was saying.
Okay, now it makes sense. It's the reason I was an eligible Ken.
Didn't do the Paideia program.
I wasn't nobody academy.
Man, all the guys that played baseball, the ones that were serious, was in one of those academies. It's up to you if you want to be health, engineer, computer. It was up to you. You had to pick your, what you wanted to be in the future, what you thought you wanted to be, and then go for it. And that's what all the guys was in. We had some guys that didn't participate in the program and still made the grades. That was their choice. But most of the guys on the baseball team, from JV to varsity, was funneled through the Paideia program and rolled into one of those academies.
Nice.
But man, way Ken talk about it, like your championship team, which was a dream season for you guys, right? Did you know by time y'all got to their senior year, and I'm thinking about that class with Mikey and Dion and Matt, did you know by time y'all got to y'all senior year how good y'all would be and just win OEL and Trans-Bay Series? Because you still have Skyline had a good team that year as well.
Well, honestly, we should have won it the year before. Because what we were trying to do, and it was selfish on me, we was trying to put up the thing to where I would be the first coach to win it as a senior in high school, and then come back 10 years later and win as a coach. It didn't happen in 97 because we lost to Castlemont. We shouldn't have lost to Castlemont that year, but we lost to Castlemont. Castlemont went on to win it. And after that season,
let's slow down, Gene. Hold on, because I'm thinking 97. Who was on Castlemont team? Because Quinn and them was the year before, right?
No, Quinn was 97.
90. Oh, that was Quinn was 97.
96 school. 96 beginning. 97 they graduated.
Oh, okay.
And they had Quinn, Tavaro, Big E, and all of those dudes.
Okay.
I remember seeing them on Sports Focus every Friday.
And if anything, pitch Quinn against Tech.
Yeah, that's what happened. We got when Mikey and them played with us got there at the 10th grade. That's when our regime started, was the 10th grade, Mike and them 10th grade year. We didn't see nothing but everybody's number one. And 3 years before that, I saw anybody that that they thought would win. But when Mike and them got there in the 10th grade, we saw everybody's number one. The Oakland High's number one with Amari and all of them. We saw everybody's number one. Oakland High, Skyline, Fremont. They even threw red against us, dude.
So wait, red who?
Right now. And not on all them, yes.
Oh, that was the year that was after they left. That was after Mikey and them left in. Because Red younger than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was just saying.
It was like 12.
Basically saying is, that was after they left. But he's saying basically before they go pitch whoever somebody just get 3 outs.
Right.
By the time that 10th grade year come, they throwing all number ones, right? By your senior,
all number ones at us.
By their 12th grade year, and I remember 10th grade year, Mikey and them year, Matt wasn't there yet, right? Matt and Dion didn't come to the following year, or did they come that 10th grade year too? The following year.
Matt came the summer of the 10th grade because he was at juvenile hall, and Delton called me. Big D called me. Bless Delton. That's my boy right there. He said, "G, I need a linebacker." I said, "I got one for you, but he locked up." He said, "Where he at?" He at juvenile hall. What's his name? Matthew Cobb. And he went and got him. Coach Tex got him out. D got him in. The rest was history.
Shout out to Coach D, man. Shout out to Coach D. See, Ken don't know this, and I'm going to let Mikey tell this part of the story because Mike called me and say, "Man, Lo, I was originally about to go to Mac. Gene was coaching at Mac. I just got through playing for the Saints." I thought, "Mike, I thought you were Crusaders all the way." He said, "No, I just got through playing for the Saints, and Gene was at Mac, and I was just about to go to Mac and play football and baseball with Mac." The Gene left and came to, I'm like, "Nah, Mike, I thought you was at Emory. Thought you was going to Emory." Like, give us the background on all of that change that happened, Gene. Like, you going from, they coming from Emory to Mac to Tech.
Okay, so what happened was Tony was at Fremont. And right before the season started for baseball, because he had just finished up a football season, Marculis Jr. was the coach. And they were practicing. Somebody broke into the locker and stole my glove. Because I gave Tony my one of my gloves that I got when I signed. And he was just so upset. And then Marculis didn't want to replace it. I said, "All right, don't worry about it." I said, "If you're not going to, take care of your players and stuff, I got something for you." So Crawford said, "I got a spot for him." And Emory opened up their doors. Tony went into Emory. He liked it. And then when moms, saw that Tony was doing well over there and I left Mac, she put him into Emory. So now you got both of them over at Emory and I'm starting a program at Tech. So then once I got it going and I tried to get Michael and Tony for Tony's senior year. And I got Mikey out, but I couldn't get Tony because the head coach, he was there. We thought he was gone and we were going to have the school sign him out, but he stopped it. So I couldn't get Tony. I was going to get like about 4 other guys. Magruder, Joe, and Eco, all those guys are going to come over to Tech. But the deal got stopped.
What Magruder? Big Mike Magruder? The lefty?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That would have been some heat coming in there that first year at Tech with what was little there when you got there that 10th grade year, because they still had some athletes that 10th grade year at Tech.
Yeah. But if those guys come,
Mikey's
in them 10th grade year, we would have won. If T-Tone and Magruder and all them come over, we would have won.
Yeah, that would have been some heat. That would have been some heat, right? But the fast forward back to this championship you guys won for Oakland Bay. I mean, your Mike's senior year, right? Everybody on that team has some connection to Oakland Bay Ruth in some type of way. Like just the lineup in itself and most of the guys either played spray mark Cobras coming up in that whole little cycle. And then you would throw Dion in, who was a Duvernay person, but still had his village ties in, right? What was it like after that championship was done? And just to reframe it, y'all beat, was it Lowell y'all played that year, right? Was it Lowell or
GW.
Lincoln?
Washington.
Oh, y'all played
Washington.
Y'all played Washington.
Yeah.
All right, y'all beat Washington in them back-to-back games, right? Did you feel as a coach, like, you know what? I did my job. Let me, like, I damn near want to get out after this. Like, you want to leave after this. Did you just want to be like, hey, you know what? I accomplished it. My boys did it. Let me sit back for a second, or did that just make you want to just redo it again?
Well, I got into coaching, as you know, doing Ted a favor. But when I was in high school, my high school coach was Mike Markoulis Sr., and he said, no matter what you do in life, Gene, remember this one thing. Always remember where you come from and always give back to your community. So when I got into coaching, and once I figured out that Ted was pulling a fast one on me, it was just about giving back. And that's what it always has been. That's what it always will be. It's just about me giving back, to my community. And that's it, man. It was never a thought in my mind to just walk away from after winning the championship, because it was never about me. It's always been about these kids or the young men that I was trying to help grow into be, good young men. That's, upstanding citizens. And that was the main thing right there.
We talk about that all the time in coaching as well, with me coaching, right? And it's a definitely hard process, right? How hard has it been, like, just trying to keep the ones that you saw and watch them develop from 9, 10 years old, to try to keep them away from the trouble that we already know how the story ends? I tell the kids all the time I coach, I know how this story ends, right? How do you try to keep them, how were you trying to keep them away from partaking in any kind of the inner city bullshit that's right outside their door? How did you try to keep them focused?
You got to remember, a lot of the guys that I coached, they were like born into it. They got family members that's in the streets, and they just chose to go down a different path at that time. You can only save who wants to be saved. And that's just how it is. For that time, for those 2 hours that you have those young men, they're blessed to have you. And, you just got to just do what you can to try to steer them from going down the wrong path. After those 2 hours, they go home to reality. Fun times is over with. You know what I'm saying? They got to go back to the 65ths, the Acorns, the 20s and stuff like that. They got to go back to that. And so what are they seeing when they're walking up? They seeing negativity. When we first moved into the village, that's what we saw. I walk out my front door, I look to the left to the wash house, I see Felix Mitchell and them running heroin out of the laundry room. So I'm gonna say it's there. You know what I'm saying? It was just, he actually wasn't there, but it's just crew. You know what I'm saying? So we looking at it. And they were cool people outside of what they was doing. They was real cool people. They took care of, Mikey and Tito, man. They was little homies with them. So I'm just saying it was there. You just, choose different paths and stuff like that. Some people get into it, some don't. We all got our flaws and stuff like that, but some people, wander their way away from it, and some of them don't.
Absolutely. Hey, so what would you say from what is the biggest difference you see in coaching back then? Because you didn't start it all over. You didn't came back from high school. You came back to Oakland Bay, Ruth, started all over at T-ball, started your own Hurricane team, and coaching
Shout
girls.
Out to the Hurricanes, baby.
Hurricanes. Then coaching girls and all of these different things. And I might add, you'd have coached some very good girls. I heard, is it your daughter or T-Tone daughter is really, really, really good? Both, right?
Yeah, they both play for me.
Yeah, exactly? So I heard that. What's the big difference you see in the athlete's perspective from when you was coaching back then to now?
Back in the day, you had athletes wanted it more. And in today's athlete, they're feel entitled, like they're supposed to get it. And that's the main difference. Is that, you worked hard back here, now you feel entitled. No matter what you do, you feel you're supposed to be in the start lineup just because who your daddy is or who your uncle is and stuff like that, or who you think you is. Well, I'm entitled to shortstop. No, you got to pay your dues like everybody else. So, and that was the one thing that I've always kept in my, plan of, building teams. No matter who you are, you got to earn your keep. All my players will tell you at some point they started at the lower level or on the bench before they got into the starting lineup. It's always been that way.
That was the one thing I liked about Babe Ruth back in the day. Like when we was coming up, because you had the organizations and you would stay with that same organization all the way up. So it's almost like you had to wait your turn. Because when you come into minors, 7 or 8, you got 10-year-olds. You ain't about to start over them. You get to majors, now you 11, but you got 12-year-old, and you could get cut back then. Right now, you can't even cut a kid, so he could be trash and can't do. You got to play him.
Hey, one thing we doing, Ken, we talking like Gene, only a baseball coach. But we got to talk about Gene going back and take over Fremont football team.
Gene was enlightening me before the show. I'm like,
Yeah. No, Gene came over, took over Fremont football team, created a staff, right? How did that happen, Gene? And who was leaving as a coach that you replaced when you came back to Fremont for football?
Well, when I came over to Fremont, Coach Walker was the head coach, Matthew Walker, and he had took over for Denny. So Denny was the first to put Fremont back into the Silver Bowl. Mm-hmm. And then when I came over with Walker, he was really transitioning out, and he was pretty much, looking for somebody to take over the program. And when I came over, I was just coming just to be a part of the staff and coach, at my alma mater. And then it turns out that, when we interviewed, I interviewed better than everybody, and I took over the job. So it was tough times back then. I had a lot of help from my coaching staff that was with me, as long as outside help, and Zoe, Delton were two of the main guys that really, pushed me and made me be better at it. I know Zoe was probably going to say I could have done a better job because of me doing baseball and football, and I didn't dedicate everything to football like I should have or like you're supposed to. But those two guys was the main two that really, really helped me out.
And that's dope too, because we always talk about that too, how the coaches back then worked together in the OAL.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we used to during making highlight tapes. I know Zoe probably told you about the Pink Palace. We would go over to his house, man.
He did speak about it. Yeah, he
spoke about it. Yeah. We used to be over at the Pink Palace, baby. You get your domino game, you get you some food, you get some adult beverages. You have a good time over there, man, and take care of business, man. And everybody came over to Zoe's spot, man. I mean, me, Delton. I didn't see too much of the Lloyd was over there too. Lloyd come over. Curtis McCauley would be over there. I mean, it was just good times over there, man. It was like a brotherhood over there. And like I say, I will leave everything that I know about football, about the recruiting. It goes back to Delton and Zoe, man. Being dedicated to these kids, giving these kids what they deserve, and not what you thought they needed. Just give them what they deserve, man. And they deserved our time. They deserve us teaching them to be young men. And, that was a strong point that both Zoe and Delton used to just stress to me all the time. And that's just where it was at, man.
Before Mikey and them got to Tech, did you know Coach D already?
D coached against me when I was a player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, D was at Tech. He was coaching with Coach O'Keefe.
Oh, got it. Okay. Look how things come full circle, Ken. That's crazy, right? That's crazy, right? Okay, he was coaching with Coach O'Keefe. Mike and them came over. Another thing, as the baseball coach at Tech, and you guys
hold on. Let me set the record straight. We used to whip Zoe's ass when he was at Mac.
As a player,
he played him and Pooh, baby.
Okay,
Never
As
lost
a
to Mac as a player.
hey. With contrary, don't get Pooh started. Pooh would take it out on Fremont. Pooh would take that out on Fremont this year.
That's all right.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this: the last rec center guest that got Pooh upset almost got 100 hung on him if he really wanted
That's all
to.
right. I'm gonna call Pooh after this and let him know. I told the rec center that I never lost to McLean or Castlemont as a football player.
I never lost to Castlemont.
Yeah,
Hey,
those were good times, though, man.
I can imagine, man, and I wish they could get back to that type of level with the coaches just being cool like that. Like how you guys was. Like, create a pink palace, one of the OAL coaches. That's my public service announcement. Create a pink palace and put the work in together for all the kids that everyone is coaching, man. I would love to see that again. Hey, but what I was going to ask you was, so in our senior year, and we playing football, right? You're damn near whole starting 9 for your baseball team. I mean, other than Will Pickford is on the football team, right? So you got Malcolm and Marco, who I never thought would play football, become really good football players, right? Did you ever was like, damn, man, please don't get injured right now. Please nobody get injured.
Delton and I had talked, and I said, Delton, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get these baseball players to play football with you guys, so it can help your numbers, so you guys are not, having guys going both ways. I said, to help you. He said, shit, send them on, Gene. So the conversation was there in 97 about them playing football. And they played the 97 year. They got a little bit bigger. But their senior year, it was a big increasement as far as them lifting weights and body mass. So a lot of people didn't know that they were that big in football. So when they played that season and they rolled over to baseball, I had one of the biggest, strongest teams in the OEL or in the Bay Area, because we was ranked like number 4 in the AMG newspaper. Yeah, we was ranked number 4. We was right behind Encinal. That's a story I don't even want to get into.
No, we got.
Y'all played. Hold on, y'all played Encinal.
What happened? I didn't know.
This Twan senior year, right? It's also Antoine senior year.
Yeah. So what happened was we played them in Encinal's normal Easter tournament.
The Saunders.
And they came.
Or something.
Yeah. Jim Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
So it came down to we had to play Encinal. So it was hyped up. Antoine Rollins, Michael Denard. So we going at it. They battling. Twan throwing fastball, striking my guys out. Mikey throwing fastball, striking my guys out. We leading. So we roll over into like the last inning. Mikey throwing BBs by these guys. Umpire started squeezing Mikey. He throwing the ball right down the middle. Ball. And they beat us 2-1.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there because this is a good segue. So he throwing BBs and the umpire squeezing them. Now, I remember a lesson you taught me about umpiring at Greenman Field. I was behind the plate. You was coaching. And I started squeezing one of your pitchers. You called timeout, called the catcher over. Yeah, you started to remember that. And I'm not really tripping. I'm like, okay, you want to talk to the catcher so the catcher can talk to the pitcher. So the catcher talks to Gene. Catcher goes back to the mound. They have a little discussion. He comes back. Next pitch is low. The catcher moves out of the way. And the ball hits me square in the chest. Now, I'm knowing Gene. I done played with Gene. I looked dead at you. I said, Gene, I want to throw you out right now so bad. Don't ever do that again. Why you didn't do him like that?
I couldn't. But believe me, I've done a lot of umpires like that.
My daughter I said, ooh. I was like, oh, Gene. I thought it was better than this. We could have had a friendly discussion. You could have just, called me over or something in between innings or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that on all levels. high school, little league, and with softball. But my daughter's in them team in softball, they used to do it on their own though.
Just
Mm, oh yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna set the record straight. Some of my girls' teams were harder than some of my boys' teams.
I believe it.
Oh man, I had girls that would get after it.
I believe it.
They would talk a whole bunch of smack to you. We'll put it like this. We were in a tournament in Reno, and they came up with some stuff about the telephone, right? So I had a girl hit a double. She went to her ear like she had a phone, real loud. Ring, 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 ring. And the girl back up say, hello? She said, yeah, this so-and-so. I just went deep. And man, they started a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh wow.
This is while the game is going on. This is how intimidating my girls was, man. Another play. One of my third basemen, she gets taken out by a big old manly girl. We playing, I think it was 10 years old up in Reno, that tournament. It's a 10U tournament or a 12U tournament. And this girl had to be about 13. She had a deep ass voice. And she slid into third and clicked my girl. Oh, why did she catch it? She tried to go home on a play, and my catcher, a little bitty girl named Monet Seals, put the clamp down on her. Boom, out.
Wow.
They was rough, man. My girls was rough. They played harder than boys.
Hey, as a coach, though, like knowing you have that tough, intimidating team, man, right? What do that do for, like, when you know you got the other team psyched out? What does that mean for a coach?
That means everything. You mean you ain't got to do nothing. Go out there and play,
nothing.
Talk your smack, play the way that you've been taught to play, win the ball game. Whether you win by 1 or by 20, win the ball game. Go do what you do. I mean, that's all you can do. That's just like waking up. Oh, man, I want coffee. Go drink your coffee. Oh, this is what we playing. And tell the girls, y'all going to make y'all line up and go play. That's how easy it was. And that's how the same it was with the tech team. Didn't have to make no lineup of it. Everybody knew who was playing, where, and where they was playing. They just figured out who was pitching that day. Oh, Mike pitching? Okay, that means you go in here, you go in there, and go play. All me and Scott did was give signs. Let's go, baby. When I want them to bunt, they bunted. When I want them to steal, they stole. That was it. I mean, there was nothing that we really had to do because we had already put the program in place 2 years prior. This is how we practice. This is how we hit during practice. This is our goal as far as hitting. The only thing that we did, our philosophy was, and it still is to this day, we're going gap to gap, putting the pressure on the defense. So you hit a ball over second base head, who's in that gap? Nobody, because they playing straight up. They shade over this way, or they shaded, towards left field. So if you're going in the gap, that's where it's at. Yeah. Gap to gap pressure.
Let me back you up real quick to this NCNL game. You say Antoine on the mound, he dealing. Mikey on the mound, he dealing. You said it in the terms of high school, tech, and NCNL. That shit literally was Allen Temple versus Cobras for me, right?
That's what it sounds like.
like a deja vu all over again
like.
type thing, right? And the game ending 2-1. It's kind of like the same game at 12 years old. Allen Temple winning 2-1, right? Mikey walked. He might have walked White Mike. He might have walked White Mike that started some shit, and next thing you know, game 2-1. That's exactly what that sound like. How many? Like, I talked to Mike and I told him, Mike, you always comparing these rivalries to Varro McIntyre, always at the comparison, and Antoine Rollins, right? Because y'all battled for so many years, right? Is there any other rivalry you watched throughout the years be as big as them two?
Let me see. There was always a rivalry between Mikey and Ronnie Johnson. Ronnie
a year older though, right? He a year older than Mike, right?
No.
I always thought Ronnie was a year older.
No, they're the same age.
Okay, I thought he was a year older.
Let me see.
I thought Ronnie and Two-Bob were the same age. That's what I always thought.
Two-Bob and Mikey is the same age. I mean, T-Tone.
Two-Bob and T-Tone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to say that were good rivals back in the day was Michael Tyner, and who was good back in the day? It was Mike Tyner, and I can't even remember the kid's name, but there was some games back in the day, the Duvernay games back in the day with the Tyner boys. Somebody that y'all might remember. Let me see. Antoine and AJ. Yeah, that was some nice ball playing back then too. You had AJ, PJ. What's the kid name?
PJ. My little cousin Rob.
Yeah, Rob.
I remember Rob.
Yeah, Rob. You also had Petey and all those guys. Yeah.
Petey was another one of them. Petey was another one of them switch-handed pitchers, Gene. Back and throw with his left, then come back and throw with his right. He was so talented and fast.
He would have helped out Castleman if he'd have got his grades together too.
Yeah. They used to battle with Bulldogs. That's when Gordon came around. AJ.
Yeah, Gordon had a good squad. Bernard, Quincy. I mean, what's not Quincy, but what's his name?
They had Juan and Bernard and Delancey.
Delancey, that's what I'm talking about.
Delancey, yeah.
Because I seen Delancey on the mound versus AJ on the mound.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about gas. What?
Yeah.
Them catchers.
So,
they used to throw it back in the day,
they
man.
was throwing it. Oh, yeah. That ball was...
Yeah, so the rivals I remember was always the T-Tone and Jimmy, T-Tone and Jimmy, and our T-Tone and Two Bob. They always stayed in that rival.
Yeah.
Then it was the Mikey and Tavaro, and then it was like Hooch and Atari Collin, right? Because Hooch got to throw against Atari on the mound, and back then Atari was hitting bombs at like 12, right? So those were some of the ones like, hey, I got to come back and watch this game. Like, I'm going to play Dome for an hour, but I got to watch them warm up and play this game. Those were some of the big rivalries I saw, right? One of the things we're going to talk about, not extensively, right? But Mike leaving Tech and the draft, getting drafted versus signing to go play for Oklahoma State, right? What was that whole process like for the Denard family and making those type of decisions?
Well, the decision was made about a week before the draft even came about. The scouts came in and their whole thing was, we're afraid that he's going to go play football because he has an Oklahoma State, scholarship
letter intent
out there. That's a big time scholarship. But I told the guy, I said, if you guys going to sign him, when you say you're going to sign him, he'll play baseball. And it was mostly, they said that they was going to draft him in the 5th round. And at that time, I think the 5th round was given up.
I'm gone. I'm fifth round. I'm out.
Fifth round in baseball.
Yeah,
that's like a first round pick.
Yeah.
It was like about $150,000 at that time. And I talked to Mikey about it and told moms, I said, if that's what he want to do, let him go play ball. I said, but if they do not select him in the 5th round, then he's going to go play football. He's going to go, get his education. And so when they came around, they didn't do what they said they were going to do. So that's what made the decision to go play football real easy. Because after the 5th round, when I watched the 5th round and they selected somebody else, and then I waited for the 6th round, I said, nope, go play football. And then his number got pulled like around round 11, between 11 and 15 is when his number got called. So with no money, I told them, I said, hey, you guys blew that. I told y'all, if y'all pick him in the 5th round, he would come play baseball. So you didn't, so he's going to go play football. And that's what happened.
At the time of that draft, so this is 1998, at the time of that draft, what is T-Tone? I know T-Tone was still playing. Did he already have drafted, or was he playing JC ball? What was T-Tone doing at that time that Mikey was getting drafted?
He was at Laney.
He was playing JC ball. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he got picked up as well, right? Didn't he get picked up?
Tony got drafted twice. Tony got drafted by the Diamondbacks his first time out. Then he got drafted by the Twins. But the Twins didn't offer him enough at bats. And my boy, who played ball with me, Darren Johnson, he gave me insight. He said there ain't gonna be enough at bats for him. There ain't a lot of money. I said right now, I said Tony's not the one that wants to go to school. So I mean, if he get a opportunity, if there's an opportunity for him to play, then he'll sign. We don't care about the money with Tony. He just wants to go play, and he'll make his money later on. But it just wasn't enough at bats for him. So, and that's the thing about minor league baseball is where you get drafted at and how much money is behind your name for the opportunity that you get
in the future, down the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if just say like, if you're a bonus baby, means you get 50,000 or more, that's an investment to them. So they're going to give you more opportunities. So if you somebody that just signs like a free agent contract out of a camp, or they give you like about $5,000 to $10,000, it's like for them shooting dice. If I'm going 7-Eleven, or am I going, snake eyes, or am I going crap out? So, and that's how it is, and that's how it was.
So that was the phrase at not enough at bats. If you don't have the money behind you, you're not going to be able to show as much to get you to the next level. That was that.
Yeah, because they're going to be pushing other people ahead of you. Like you're going to be there on the team, but the guy that signed for like $50,000, he's going to guarantee get at bats.
Got
so
it.
If you playing 6 games in 7 days, he's going to play. Dude got the money is going to play at least 3 of those games. The guy that got more money than him is going to play all 6 of those games. So when he gets tired, then that's when your at bats come. Okay, you got an at bat today. Oh. You may get a bat next week.
Got it.
But you still got to show up to practice and bust your butt to try to earn that, right to get that at bat.
I just think it's crazy that 3 brothers all got drafted.
Hey, that's a good question, Ken, because in our earlier episode, Gene, when we used to do the earlier episodes of the Rec Center, we had asked the OEL first family in sports, right? We would say, who's the OEL first family in sports? And names get thrown out there, T-Tone gonna get T-Tone don't get thrown out there because he's the Emory guy. He went to Emory for a couple years, right? If you had to hear the names of first family, then more families than we know, where it was like brothers that just came through because you've been around longer. Who would you say? Like, give us your top 4 first families just off names you hear.
The first families was the Pettis brothers at Castlemont.
How many of them was it?
I think it was 3 of them.
Was that Gary?
Okay.
Stace, and there's one more. But Gary and Stace are the ones that made it. Okay. Let me see who else. I want to say, because it was only one Harvey Brumfield. You got to go with number 2, the Lowrys, Josh and Terrell. That was at Tech. I mean, that's.
Are you? We got the Vitals. That's 4 of them. The Gino, Donato, Red.
They'll be in there as well. You got the well, not in baseball, but you got the Fleming brothers that played basketball. All 3 of them played.
You got the Parkers. You got Keith and Kev Parker.
Yes, that's in football. You got those 2. Almost forgot about them.
You got some Denards. You can't forget some Denards with you and your brother.
But all 3 of us didn't play no OEL. You got the
Parham brothers, man.
You got Parhams.
You got the Parham brothers, man. Hey, you gotta let Mel get some shine, man. Yeah. Mel get you got the Parham.
People, I'll say like this. People don't give Melvin enough credit. Melvin was a little slick dude, but Melvin played his ass off, though, man. I just wish Melvin wasn't as so slick the way he couldn't take care of his business. I really liked Mel when he was with me. I really liked him, enjoyed him, but he had other things on his plate that he was trying to take care of.
Other things on the plate. Translation word. What's undefeated?
You as brother, you can say it.
What's undefeated?
You can say it.
Mel had girls on his mind.
Yes,
Mel had the girls on his mind.
Yes.
Mel was the dude, Ken, that would baseball games be boring as shit, Ken. But somehow Mel could have two girls come watch his baseball games. Like one sit on this side of the bench and other on that side of the dugout.
Yeah.
And you gonna have a gold chain on with a hoop in his ear. Like, dude, are you coming to play baseball? Or are you a fucking baseball model? Like, this ain't this ain't rookie, this ain't major leagues. You think you Wesley Snipes,
Willie
right?
Mays Hayes.
Yeah,
That was Melvin.
That guy. So Mel, hey Ken, we gotta just cut this one up in the clip and send that one to Mel. Mel got to get his post on. He got to get his props on that one, right?
Hey, Mel was always nice to me, man.
Then we got the Henderson brothers. We got the Hendersons over at Mac. What's his name? Pat Henderson, all of them. So it's definitely some families. Oh, I can't forget this one, man. He'd kill me if I didn't bring him up. Orlando Gray.
Oh yeah,
Coach Orlando Gray.
Yeah.
You got Orlando, you got Alexis, and his son didn't play in the OEL, but he don't give a shit. They got championships. So shout out to the Gray family as well.
Yeah.
Because they had a good run, right? But just seeing all the.
But here's another. I'm gonna throw another one at you. It's a father's son, Paul Marigny. I didn't know Paul Marigny's dad was All-American.
Was he in basketball as well?
At Mac. I know. I think he played baseball or football or something. But he was at Mac. He was All-American, and the uncle too. So there's a lot of names out there. Yeah.
There's a lot of good talent names out there. One of the things that happens now, Gene, in the OEL is we name all these fathers. I'm guilty of it myself too. We name all of these fathers that, all of these people that play in the OEL, all of this stuff. And then we get kids and our kids come about and we don't send them to OEL schools, right? Is that, and that kind of like way help with the transition of it. Coach D, before Coach D, not even before he passed away, a few years ago, Coach D would be like, hey, it was good for y'all to go there. How it ain't good for y'all kids to come there. Y'all, look at you, Lo. You made it. You did this, doing that. But I'm like, Coach, you know how many different ass routes I had to take before I figured it out, right? Do you see that in coaching now, because you're coaching at Piedmont, that a lot of the people that went to school in the OEL try to send their kids to Piedmont as well? Like, Gene, can you get her in?
Well, I can, but I just haven't reached out to him. I just want to set the record straight that my son did go to Fremont and graduate from Fremont. Okay. Well, both of them, PJ and Vontae.
And Mikey's son went to Tech and graduated from Tech too. Mike's son went to Tech. Maybe that's just me, kid.
No, my kids don't go to OEL school, but I don't have sons either.
My daughter, she didn't go to OEL school. My daughter's, one of them went to a school in Sacramento, but my baby girl, she went to St. Mary's.
Okay.
So, and my decision to send her to St. Mary's was at the time all based on education. I wanted my daughter to, to not to struggle, because a lot of people struggle when they leave public schools. They're struggling, and it's taking them 5 to 6 years to graduate. My baby could have graduated in 3 years if she would have followed the game plan and going to summer school, but she did it in 4. And and her worst subject was math, and she breezed through college. St. Mary's prepared my daughter for college. And her first words, after she put a month in at school, was, "Dad, this is easy. This is easy. This is nothing." And I'm gonna go on the record and say my daughter bullshitted through college, and she graduated with honors. What I mean by that is, she probably wait till like the last week to do an assignment that was given out a month ago and pass with an A. Yeah. That's how well prepared she was.
Hey, I told Ken my story of when I decided to send my sons and my daughter to private school was when I was in college and I got put on academic probation. The person I hung with every day and party with every day, he said, I'm like, "Oh, bro, we don't be both on academic probation." He like, "No, I'm not low. I got a 4.0. And I'm like, "What the fuck? We do this. We hang together every day." He was like, "Man, my high school was harder than this." I'm like, "Bro, what school you went to?" He like, "I went to Archbishop Mitty." Oh, okay. Then I learned something. My kid gonna go do it differently, right? So I totally understand why the preparation and stuff like that. And sometimes what's good for me ain't good for my son. It ain't.
Right.
Like I want better for them, right? But I was able to get through it. Don't mean they would have been able to get through it, right? Because the generation is just different, right?
Yeah, and when we came up, it was more challenging time. Like I said, I came up through the beginning part of the drug pandemic with the cocaine. So that the cocaine ruined a lot of families, a lot of families. So, and I had to deal with that. And that was in house, and I'm not ashamed to say it, but I had family members that was strung out. So you got to see this over here, see that over there, and still stay focused to get your grades and play ball. It was tough for me. And so as I was growing up, I tried to keep, Mikey and T-Tone on a different path. I didn't want them to go through what I went through. Because like I said, it was tough for me. And I heard back in the segment with Zoe that, it's true. Back in the 70s and early 80s, you couldn't go to certain areas. It was, no, you can go to the games. You better get your butt back home and play in your hood. You played ball in your hood where you felt safe. But as far as being out when the street lights came on, no, man, that wasn't happening back in the 80s. It was tough, and it carried over to some in the 90s and to the 2000s. It can't go over there.
Yeah.
And then everything starting up.
Neighborhoods.
I mean, you hung.
I didn't do too much.
When you hang out in different areas and they knew that you played ball, that was your pass.
Right.
Like everybody did the hall pass and stuff. That was your pass. Yeah. Exactly. My boy Hassan used to live in El Cerrito, went to Oakland High. The first time he came into the village, he got stopped. And they said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to see my homie." "Who?" "Gene Denard." "All right, you good to go." And they let him come through because I played ball and he was an outsider. Everybody, when you went to somebody else's neighborhood back in the day, you got stopped or you got your ass beat.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
You had to have that pass, right?
And the person you name better have a pass.
Yeah. Right. So if you wasn't credible,
right.
You had to
who?
Yeah. You got to have that pass. Gene, we did a thing, and you being a coach, right? And we did this thing. We did a top 10 running back list from in the East Bay from 1996 to 2004, right? Just tell me, I'm gonna read the names off on this list. Tell me if I'm missing anybody. Did somebody come off to add someone else on, right? So we had DJ Williams, he was one. They not in no particular order. We had Atari Collin, we had Maurice Jones-Drew, Marshawn Lynch, Ken Simonton. I don't know if you remember Ken. He used to play running back for Pittsburgh High back in '96. We had Jackie Crooks. Jackie Crooks played for Logan in '96. Then we got Mike Denard, Treston George, Raj Ratliff, and Red. And we got Red. Do you think we missing anyone in that time frame that could be added to the list, or should you see anyone on this list that should be taken out for that person to come on?
Ratliff
should be
got to come off.
Right.
Damn.
This is the thing the Ratliff is the one that name get thrown off
why, Jay?
Every
why?
episode. I'm gonna hear your why.
He was a decent back, but he doesn't compare to all the rest of those guys. All those guys were tough runners inside and out. Ratliff got a lot of sweeps and stuff like that. Ran to the outside,
little counters they did. Yeah.
And if the way I look at it is like besides DJ and Atari, because they played in the De La Salle system, and Skyline was almost running that same system like that, where it was like second level blocking and everything is just wide open like the sea. Everybody else had to run through tough terrains. They earned their stuff. That stuff is pretty much given. And I'm biased to Ratliff because of what Bean did to Mikey, because Mikey was supposed to go to Arizona State. Yes, that's what people don't know.
Oh, see, okay.
Yes. So when Arizona State came, they went to Beam first. And they said, what do you think about Michael Denard? You know, Beam said his 2 cents, whatever it was, and then he came back with, well, my back is better. See, this is all the stuff that I got. My back is better. Here he goes on film. And so they took Ratliff instead of Michael. So if Arizona State do their due diligence like they were supposed to, and they take Mikey graduates from Arizona State instead of Oklahoma State, while Ratliff drops out of Arizona State. He didn't finish.
No, Ratliff went to San Jose State.
No, he went to Arizona State.
He didn't finish. Yeah, he didn't finish.
Exactly. But that's the whole thing is.
Do you think, and I'm thinking about it because as I got to Arizona State, that would have been even a baseball chance to play both Arizona State baseball and football, right? That shit is baseball's like no other out there for them, right? Never knew of this story. This is why I need Mike on to come tell us all of this story shit, Mikey. But yeah, and the contrary to that is it wasn't like Raj is not a better running back. He had 1 year body of work that talked about the second level blocking, what you speak of, right? And I tell people all the time, our O-line, Mikey never had a hole to run through on our O-line. So people don't understand that. He always had to make a move before you could get downhill, right? So if you're able to get Mikey while he's going sideways, you able to try to bring him down as a gang tackle. But once he gets squared after he make 3 people miss due to our O-line being small, then he's gone, right? The level of back didn't compare to me. So Raj is off the list. Do you think we missed anyone on the list? The big name that come up not being on the list, I'm gonna give you the big name that come up not being on the list is Giannis Davis. They say Giannis Davis was a better back than Raj Ratliff.
Yes, by far. You got to give Giannis. Giannis did some things, and Giannis was a little guy, but he wasn't afraid to go between the tackles. And I think Frank Summers was better than Ratliff. Frank Summers was a beast. I would put Frank on there instead of Ratliff.
Definitely, that's been an argument.
We hear that a lot.
It's been an argument. Them two, Giannis and Frank, being on the list of ahead of Raj, because the body of work, which is one of the things I was explaining to Aaron early, right? One of the things I told Aaron, I was like, dude, I'm gonna let you know this. Aaron, you played all 3 years of varsity. Mike didn't play varsity his 10th grade year, and he could have. Like he could have been our starting running back in 10th grade year.
You know
right?
why he didn't play?
I'm about to ask you what went into that decision.
The decision was this: O'Keefe, he had Mikey from Delton. That's what it was.
Oh, so basically when we were scrimmage JV, he hold Mikey out to go DLC, do nothing against varsity. Okay.
Because Mikey was O'Keefe's best running back. He was his offense, and he did not want Delton to take Mike. That was the reason why he didn't play in the 10th grade. Because as soon as Delton would have laid eyes on Mike, it was a done deal. He was not going to be playing with O'Keefe, and then O'Keefe wouldn't have had, because O'Keefe keeps stats for his JV ball players. And he wouldn't have been up there in the stats.
Them dudes had like 40 touchdowns of Pete, him and Dame. They were too good for JV, man. Him and Dame Jones was like really, really too good for JV. And it's kind of like us going to the Super Bowl our senior year and y'all going to the Trans Bay y'all senior year. That shit was all picked out by our sophomore year with who we had as sophomores, right? So our 10th grade year was on varsity, Edward Gaines, Dwayne Hawkins, Lawrence Parks, myself, and we still got Mikey and Dame and all of them coming up, right? Our playoff game, Mikey rushed for over 150 on Fremont, right? Fremont best defense, he rushed for 150 at Merritt in the playoff game as the backup running back. And I remember Coach D looking at us, and he didn't give a two shits that we were losing by 50. He just said, hey, y'all, I got my running back for next year. That shit changed the game right there, right? Because it was like, Coach, he could have been our running back this whole year. No, Bobby Underwood, cool. Truck Robinson, cool. But they didn't, Mikey being young, they still didn't have what he had. And I wish he would have played up there with us, but now we understand why. Coach O'Keefe hit him, right?
Yeah.
So
he wanted to play.
I had to let Aaron early know that, like, no, this is why Mike didn't play. Mike didn't play that 10th grade year. Marshawn played 10th grade. Aaron played 10th grade. That's why when we asked Coach D about the running backs, he's like, Mike Denard, no brainer, right? Dude, another question I had, right? All the players you coached at Tech, taking Mikey out of it because you were there for a long time, who was the next best baseball guy you coached there?
Oh man, it's hard now. You took Mikey out of the equation because even though he's my brother and I was the head coach, Mikey probably was the best athlete in baseball that Tech had besides Ricky and Mobile and them. I'll put Mikey up there, and I think Tech should recognize Mikey plus all those guys more. But let me see. It would probably have to go to a pitcher after that. If I'm taking Mikey, I'd have to go to a pitcher. And that would probably be Big Chris. Chris was a real dominating guy.
Chris was on your team with Cesar, right? He was on that team with Cesar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, because Cesar was, like I said, Cesar was good defensively, offensively, but if you're looking at the person that was making Tech run after Mikey left, it had to be Chris. Because like I said, Chris kept us in a lot of games, with his pitching, and he didn't play to his potential either, and he knows that. Chris could have been, one of the more dominant guys that come through this era, who come through his era. I mean, he just had it, but he didn't want to work, and he knows that. But I would go Chris, then I would go Cesar. Then you got the guys that didn't want to make the grades that I thought they could have been good. You're like Darius Chung, Al David. These guys were just like to crush the ball. And with Darius Chung, he could pitch and hit, but it's just other elements that just distracted them from doing what they were supposed to do.
I don't know how baseball recruiting go, right? So on your team in 1998, were these dudes getting recruited, like not worrying about the draft, but colleges come in to recruit them guys? Because we talking Paideia program, we talking good grade students. I know Will Pickford, he was ROTC, so I knew he was going military. But like, with other ones getting recruited for baseball?
Well, everybody got recruited. They drew interest, but everybody had different plans. Like a lot of the guys, like the twins, was military. They wanted to do school, but military. They got interest drawn at them, but it wasn't nothing like that. And that was the one thing that I was upset with about the recruiters, because here it is. I have a squad of 25 guys, and 12 of my guys on this squad of 25 are 3.5 or better, can play with anybody across, the Bay Area, down south, and you guys can't come in here and pull these guys out. We're ranked number 4 in the A&G, and y'all can't come in and get my guys. So I was really upset with the recruiters at that time. We did what we could as far as, make contact and try to push them, but it just wasn't a lot of interest the way that we thought it should have been.
I don't know the route that they went, but I know one of the twins was at San Jose State.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if he played or not, but I know Raymond Cleveland went to Cal Poly. I can't remember if Ray played down there or not.
But we gotta remember, a lot of my baseball team, they got offers in football.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. They got the offers in football. And, they accepted them that route. It was the baseball what I was upset with.
Are you an advocate? I mean, like, for just for them getting offered, being able to do good in football and not getting the recruiting for baseball? Are you a coach now that's an advocate for the kids playing 2 sports? Because what we see nowadays, we see coaches want kids to do this one sport all year round, right? Are you an advocate for the 2-sport athletes? Just seeing
I'm a big advocate for it. I'm a big advocate for it because I think that it's too early in your life to be saying I'm just a baseball player, and you're also good in football and you're also good at basketball. You know, just let the cards fall on the ground, and wherever they lay, let them lay there. Somebody likes you more in basketball, then you get that basketball scholarship. If they like you more in baseball, well, get that baseball scholarship. But we see now that baseball is really not taking, the minority kids. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit better. In the last couple of drafts, we've had a number one pick that was African American, which is great, but you need to do more of it. So you're saying that the Dominicans, the Chinas, the Japans have better athletes than the brothers and the Latinos?
I don't believe. Heck no. Heck no.
That's what they're saying though, because they're not coming in and getting us.
So do you think that is what turned us away from baseball? Because if you look at teams nowadays and the really good ones in Little League, it'd be two black people on there, two brothers with the rest others, right? If that
and even Grimmie Field ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, you look at it. Basketball, at one point, you can go right out of high school into the NBA. In football, you have to do at least 1 year college and you go right to the NFL. But now it's 2 years removed from high school. So, I mean, that was the big thing was in basketball and football, I can go provide for my family faster than I can in baseball. So why am I wasting my time with baseball when basketball and football is offering me, an earlier chance to, improve my family's living situation or financial situation?
Hey, but does that just apply to like the man sport? You coaching girls softball, right? Do your girls after the season go play club softball, or do they go do basketball, track? They do any other sport, or do like I know softball is a different competitive thing, so they do a lot of club softball and still do high school. Do the girls you coach go play other sports?
Well, right now, currently on my team, I have a squad of 11 on the varsity, and 10 of them play travel ball. 2 of them play very competitive travel ball, and the rest play just like rec ball right now. But they're learning to understand that the more competitive play that they have, the better they're going to be. But then I also have on that same squad, they're coming from basketball. Like when they finish basketball, they come to me. So me and the basketball coach have this thing to where we're going to push our girls to play more than one sport. I tell the girls either go play soccer, go play basketball, go run track, go do something else. Because what I don't want is for you to be ineligible when it's time for me. But if you're doing another sport, I know you're focusing on keeping your grades up. So that's why I'm pushing more than one sport so they can keep their grades up. At the same time, they're staying in shape. So when they come to me, I can eliminate, 2 weeks of conditioning because they're already in shape. And the only ones that need to be conditioned are ones that only play one sport. Okay, well, this is why we start in September. So you're already in shape when their other girls come back.
Absolutely. I'm an advocate for 2 sports, man. My son played 2. I'm like, he tried to pick one. He wanted to do one. Me and moms got into a real big heated thing where, listen to me, man, I'm sitting there printing out documents that say the benefits of 2 sports. He ain't doing it, right? I'm like, we're not about to just make that decision right now. We don't know what it might, he might love basketball more, but if he gets to 5'11" and stop, then what?
Yeah.
Basketball is
football
done.
was the last sport I picked up.
Was it?
Yeah.
But it also depends on the kid,
baseball
though, too.
And basketball first.
It also depends on the kid.
It does depend on the kid. And that's what you spoke about earlier, what I had to tell my son about the wanting it more, right? The wanting it more. I said, dude, you're entitled. You're entitled, right? I said, you don't have the if I don't make it here, I'm not going to college
Right.
story. If I don't do good this way, I'm not going to do. You got college. If you don't do good in sports, you still going to college because that's what I set you up for, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have that grind like, damn, I got to do this, right? I look who I got to compete against. And not my son. That's the abundance of kids that I coach as well. Totally different kids, the way we were, how we were, the way we approached it, in the way we approach competing, right? Like, I'm like, that's Ken on the other end. Let me bring it today. that's Ken on the end. Let me go give him his dap, take a picture for our social media, be friends with him. Like I can't deal with it. Like y'all become fans of people that y'all playing against. Like at that age.
I'm gonna give you a little scenario from when I was growing up, and it all ties into YouTube growing up and to what goes on now. When I was coming up, when I didn't practice with my team, and I'd be in the village working out, we had this big old concrete porch. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about being in the village. That concrete porch used to help me with my quick hand reactions, my backhands to the ball. I would throw the ball against the wall and work on my backhands, moving my feet real fast, reaction line drive drills. And I would tell people, this is how I made myself better to where ground balls didn't affect me. And then you got the kids nowadays. Like I say, you guys did it too, because I drilled Mikey and Tony on doing the same thing. And you guys had your way just like we had strikeout.
Yeah.
Moving forward to today, you know what these guys have right now? Video games. Video games is a big distraction, but that's the way that we live in right now. We had them when we was coming up. But it wasn't real popular. Oh, you got one? I'm going to come over to your house and spend the night and play your game. But at the same time, we're going to go out and play strikeout when we're done. They don't do that. Yeah. They don't make themselves better. They just play the game.
And play some, like you said, you would have to be at my house for us to play together. Right. Now you could play online and y'all ain't even got to be together. And it's so realistic. I think kids get lost into like the creative player that's really them. And I'm like, that's not you. You're not that good. So, right. Yeah, it's different. It's different.
Hey, that definitely makes a lot of sense, man, on how the transition happened, even as a coach with that. What I was going to say, so growing up, Gene, you've been a big brother. Did your two in an age gap, but your two younger brothers are closer in age with each other. Was it ever a sibling rivalry between them two? Like you, the big brother, got to break up this fight and just sibling rivalry?
No, Tony and Mike, they got along real well. One thing that I will say is if Tony ever got in a fight, Mikey was there to help him. If Mikey got into a fight, Tony was there to help him. And because if they didn't, they had to deal with me. So that's why they were so close-knit together. I mean, I don't even recall them ever getting into a squabble. They just wasn't like that.
I remember them being real close. And I remember you don't want to be the person that's fighting both of them. I remember that too.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
Who would be, before we get out, I have to have this question. What would be like your top 5 Babe Ruth coaches?
Top 5 Babe Ruth coaches? Oh, man. Shit. You going back from my era or
just from what you've seen?
Oh, man.
Because we have ours, but we got like a limited window. You done seen it all.
I mean, there's been so many, dude. You got Frank Love. You got Ted Saunders. Despite what y'all may think, Steve Webster. You got Hank Thomason. You got Jesse Wyatt. You got and I'm not saying these coaches as far as wins and L's. It's just saying it's just overall good people. Robert Searcy, Mr. Searcy. Oh man, you got Barney and Mac. You got Mr. Tyner. You got the Turners from the Wards. It's a lot of cats, man. I mean, you just can't name 5 of them because there's so many good coaches out there. Like I said, it's not about the W's and the L's. It's just more about them being good men.
Right.
Man, I can't leave out Jeff Whitlock and all those guys. I mean, in his own right, Coach Clayton for the Taylor Memorials. He's just got a lot of good dudes. Yeah. But if we're going on a baseball aspect, let me see the guys. I would have to go Hank Thomason, Frank Love / Ted Sanders. It's not one without the other with them. Let me see who else was a good coach that everybody wanted to play with. Jesse
What about
Wyatt.
What about Mobile Cox?
Yeah, Mobile. I mean, like I said, Mobile's up there too. Like I say, it's much more than W's and L's. It's about just the good men. And Mobile, Mobile was one.
So with our era, Gene, I don't think we had good baseball coaches as much as we had dudes that was there when other people weren't.
I don't know, man. Well, I only played for Mac and Jeff, so they taught me baseball.
Ken, let me give you an example, right? So we got Atari Collin, right? He came on our show, Tari, and he was like, "Hey, you know what? The difference is when I went out to play elsewhere, the coaching was very different. Now we was more competitive as athletes, but the other team was more coached in baseball, right?
Oh, I forgot Brock, Coach Brock.
Coach Brock.
Oh,
I remember
Brock.
Coach Brock
And Coach.
Coach Brock, Coach Gordon. I can't leave those two guys out. Those dudes and Coach
Eddie Abram.
Eddie, yeah, I like Eddie too, but Eddie get on my nerves. My man for the Bulldogs, Latin guy, Coach Alex Verduzco.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm gonna go into this. Like I say, it's not about the W's and L's. It goes into being good men, but then it goes back to the guys that know the game and that can teach it. You got a lot of people that can sit up there and just judge talent and say, you play here, you play there. But then when it comes down to it, when it's 2 outs or 1 out, you're in the bottom of the 6th inning, you got a runner on second, and your batter got 1 strike. How are you going to get this run in? Now, the guys that can come up with a manufactured run out of that, those are the good baseball coaches.
And Ken, we didn't have that, Ken. We all
I did, bro. I don't know who you played for.
I played for Jackie.
Coach Jackie under the bus.
Hey, listen to me.
Coach Mack
for the
taught us baseball. We knew how to suicide.
Yeah. So hold on.
But we knew how to proper cutoff rotations and turning double play footwork. Man, we had.
No, I knew. We taught that. But what Gene is saying. Runner on first base, right? We're down, we're down, or even a game.
We knew how to get it to the right side of the field with his but
we wasn't suicide button to get that run over. We didn't get caught. We didn't get.
I don't know what Jackie was doing.
We were swinging. Hey Kim, we were swinging and hitting into a double play.
We knew how to take on 3-0 without the sign. We knew 3-1. It was a fastball coming down the middle. We knew all of that.
3-0, right? 3-0.
3-0, you take it.
Why? If let's say two Bob up the bat on a 3-0, and he know it's coming down the plate, you still want him to take?
Well, here's the thing. It depends on the situation.
Gee, hold on.
Also, it depends on who's in the box. So I don't know what Terrell and Chris had on 3-0, but Kenny Edwards on 3-0 had the take sign.
It all came down with me. The team that we was playing, but most of the people that play for me, whether it's male or female, on 3-0, you swing the bat, we're gonna have a problem.
There you go. Now 3-1, you know it's a fastball coming down. You know that's a hit. You know that's a hitter's count. We knew
3-0 was a good pitch coming, Ken. It's a good pitch coming.
But
Coach Jackie, he throwing you under the bus.
Listen to me. I'm saying like this. If it's 3-0 and you give somebody green light to swing, they're going to
pop up.
They're going to tense up. Eyes get this big because they're so excited to swing on a 3-0 count, and they're not staying within themselves. So if you go to 3-1, like Kenny is saying, you relax. You know you got to come with another fastball because if you throw a ball, now there's 2 people on base. You got the tying run and the winning run now on base. So he got to challenge you. So if he throw a 3-1, 3-0 fastball and you take it for a strike, you know another one is coming because he's trying to get ahead or get back in even with the count. And you right there looking for a fastball.
0-2. He about to throw a curveball in the dirt. You know that. You know it's coming. So I don't know, Lo. We was taught baseball.
As if you taught that.
We was taught baseball. But I also came up in Mikey's tree. So Mikey was my big bro. You know what I'm saying? Gene was out there with us. Coach Cleveland, Barney, Mac. Maybe that's why we won so many championships. I don't know.
I played for Barney and I played for Mac, and it was green light. It was
No,
the year I played for him, Ken. We didn't win no games.
No. Hey, we won many chips. I think from my minors to prep, because after prep I was kind of done with baseball, but I think we lost maybe 3 games total, and they was all the Allen, Temple, and Kappa. That's it.
I'm gonna give you a little snippet about something. When y'all, because I know y'all always saying about how I had the whole village kids on my tech team. Going back, Tony was 8 years old. Mikey was 6 years old. So it was Mikey, Ronell, Mooney, T-Tone, Jomar, and Matthew. I brought those 6 kids those 5 kids from the village, and we picked up Jomar. We used to meet at Agreement Field. They used to have like summer league going on at Agreement Field. And my boys, Chris Kiriakou and Derek Lynch, they didn't know how old the boys was, but I brought them over so the numbers can be up so they can have to like play against the other fields and stuff. Like Agreement plays against Franklin and Jones. Mm-hmm. Remember, Mikey is 6, Tony and them is 8. So we're playing, and we taking these kids to Franklin, to Jones, to Redwood Heights, and we're playing them in games, and we're blowing them out. When everybody finds out how old Mikey and Tony and them are, because we got they 6, Tony's 8, we got a couple of 10s and 12-year-olds. When they find out how old the bulk of the group was, everybody's jaw just dropped. Because at 6 years old, they making plays, turning double plays and stuff like that. At 6. So when they turn the age they can play, that's when they all funneled into the Scotty's.
Scotty's check cashing.
Scotty's check
Green
cashing.
And yellow, baby.
That's when they all got together but they have been playing summer league ball or summer ball at the Agreement Field way before anybody knew who they was. And Mr. Limbrick is the one that saw them and brought them over to Scotty's. And that's when Scotty's took off.
And Coach Limbrick was my T-ball coach. Coach Limbrick and Coach Brooks. Was,
just a little snippet that nobody really knew nothing about.
Yeah. That's just hearing that story, man, and remembering them dudes, because I had to play against them. They in my age group, so I had to play against them all the time. Every year, had to play against them, then do all-stars against them, because we were never in the same league until we got to 14, 15, right? You got to take all-star. Gene, that's the big brother of all of these dudes, man. What was it like when you hear the situation with like a Mooney and a Rodnell and Matt, and how those, like at the big brother, how does that type of situation deal with you in your mental aspect of it?
It's kind of, honestly, it's just really frustrating to hear those type of things because, they grew up with each other, and for things to go sour like they did, it's just disheartening, man. I can't believe all the stuff that is taking place over a little stupid dice game. And, I'll just leave it at that. But all this nonsense that's going on started over a dice game. A dice game. Yeah. And it's silly. It's silly. And to know people lost their lives because of the dice game, man. And then you turn it against folks that you grew up with all your life. Hear what I'm saying? These dudes, Mikey, Ronell, Mooney, Matthew, T-Tone, was all born in the village. Every last one of them born in the village. Raised up in the village. Going over to found this house, eating over there, come over there playing strikeout, playing in front of the house, baseball, going to the Agreement Field, playing basketball, doing gymnastics. All this stuff was done together. And then here, when you get an adult, you want to start doing stupid things to the people that you grew up with, that you trusted all this time. Now you don't. It's just silly, man. It was real silly. And it's still going on today. And we need to figure out a way to put a stop to it, man, because you got too many ruined families over something dumb like a damn dice game.
I know the news when stuff like that happen to us is like bullshit. That ain't happening. They brothers. That shit ain't gonna never happen, right? And I remember just when we talked about the pass you get when you playing with people, just because me playing with them, I had a village pass, right? Whether situation happened at Tech one time with Matt Cobbs in it, and I'm in it. That's my brother. And then I won't speak in specific, but you know, Mikey graduation party, it went crazy that day. He had the graduation party, it went crazy. And it was like, why shit going crazy? I got my little brother with me who happened to be with the other side of the shit going crazy with. And as you know, Tone see me, Tone like, hey, Lo, y'all good. Just stand right here, right? You good. That's the path that we had with all of these dudes that you mentioned that grew up together, man. And I remember, like I told you guys before, or I don't even know if I told you this, when I first seen T-Tone, where he at right now, right? And he just see me as I'm walking to go do my class, and Tone like, man, what the fuck? Hell no. And I'm starting thinking somebody tripping on me for some shit that happened on the streets. And it's Tone. And it's like, bro, come to my class. I got to talk to you. I'm happy to see you, man. All of this shit, man. But it's like the unfortunate things that happen that we try to keep from happening, somehow still find a way to happen. And like you said, it's stuff we need to get a control over it, because a lot of these things happen, what'd you say, over a dice game. A little fluke ass shit just turned big. And I always say it, man, it make people do something to, like you say, how you don't trust somebody as an adult that you trusted your whole life. What's different about him now?
Your whole life.
You know his mama, he know your mama, you know all of this shit. What's different now?
You know the whole family. You know the cousin from out of town.
Yeah.
You know everybody.
And
when you look at the numbers in it all, man, look how many African American men that are dying, and how many African American women that are still here that can't reproduce because we got so many males that's dying, dude.
Right.
Yeah, I never thought.
How are we supposed to, go on if we don't have reproduction? You know what I'm saying? You got it's silly, man. It's just silly.
Absolutely, man. We right at 2 hours, kid, man. First of all, I want to thank Gene for coming on, man. Gene, I would say send us out with something, man, but I think we need to close on that note, man. That was as deep as it get, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast, right? If we need Mike to come on in the comfortable place being with you being there, or you got availability to sit right now, y'all got to sit on the couch together or something.
Oh man, that's okay. I'll try to get that together, but
he
might have
together
to go
for us
by itself.
I just need you, and I just need you, because Mike called. He's telling me some stuff, and he's like, "Man, I'm telling you this now, so when we do get on, we talk about it, I don't forget." So I know I'm telling you now, because you ain't gonna forget it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks for telling. He told me some shit I didn't know, and I ain't gonna say it until he get on air, right? Because
I know one thing. I know one thing that he did want me to say. It was something about an MVP ballot. I didn't give Michael the MVP while he was at Tech for baseball, because I didn't want everybody to think just because he was my brother that I gave it to him. But Mikey deserved every MVP award that came up during his era. I just gave it to somebody else. So
who did you give it to?
I gave it to somebody else. I forgot who I gave it to, but I didn't give it to Michael.
I'm trying to think who could have been.
It could have been Dion.
Dion pitched really good. It could have been Will. Could have been.
Twin.
There's a lot of players that could have got it, but if I'm getting that trophy, I'm walking away like as an asterisk on this trophy right here. I got an asterisk.
Mikey deserved it, both the years. But I didn't want people to think, oh, he just doing it because that's his brother. No, he deserved. Like I said, Mikey is
2 grand slams.
But
Mikey is the best one of the better baseball players that Tech has had since Mobile and Ricky and Atkins.
See, that's the difficultness of coaching with a family member, man, because this shit I can't do with my son, because then if you daddy ball and you put your son on spotlight, so it's like I literally make him go through the grind of it, because when I take my hand off of it and he's in high school and you went through the grind already, you dealt with the politics, you dealt with all of this shit, so I literally got to be harder on him in front of everybody, so they know if I'm hard on my son like this, dude, I don't want to hear you complain shit about when I tell your son to run a lap. I just made my son take 10 of them to your son 1, right? So I mean, it's stuff like that. I can understand how difficult that is, man. Did Mike feel played about it, or did you give him the pre-conversation beforehand?
We talked about it afterwards. You know,
Okay,
you
okay,
know,
okay.
he was upset, but he knew where I was coming from with it. One
Got it.
last thing
Got
before y'all go for something that y'all didn't know. I was the first person as a player and as a coach to win the Trans Bay Series. I won it as a player in '87 and won it as a coach in '98.
it.
And I was the second coach in Fremont history to get them back to the Silver Bowl.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, time
I
out.
mean, Denny.
We gonna do 5 more minutes on that because I gotta go with. We gotta talk about this, Ken. We got 5 more minutes. The viewers, we got 5 more minutes. Gene coached in the Silver Bowl for Fremont. You lost the Silver Bowl, and then the next
I lost to
year,
Casamall.
then the next year you leave.
Yeah, it was time for me to go, man. I was telling Kenny earlier about the dedication and stuff that you're supposed to get to football year round. Couldn't do it, and I was missing out with stuff with my family. I just made a decision that my family was more important, and I had to get my family life back together. So I gave it up, and one of my assistants, Coach Samu, took over the program, won it that next year, and then got him back the following year. So, and then he lost it that year, but it was just time for me to go. I had done so much.
Fremont had a good 3-year run in football. Then 2 Silver Bowls, won it once, and went 3 in a row.
Yeah, and then Coach Terry came back a few years later and took him back. So it's been 4 coaches that's gotten Fremont to the Silver Bowl. Denny was 1. I'm 2. You got Samu and you got Terry.
Okay, Omari and Coop.
I see Omari and Coop. Y'all on the hot
work
seat.
cut out for you.
Y'all on the hot seat. Y'all on the hot
but
seat.
But know this, Terry and I are the only alumni to do so. So, it's going to be a lot of workout for everybody else.
Looking at the landscape of the OEL, I see Fremont getting there this year. Fremont will be in the Silver Bowl this year. Joe Bates
that's a bold prediction, man.
Joe Bates left Skyline. Oklahoma has a new coach.
Joe Bates not at Skyline no more?
He left. He's not there anymore. KC
so who is
there? Back. KC.
Oh, KC back?
Yeah, KC back.
You're going to run Beam system. Okay.
Yeah, so KC's back. So Joe not there no more. Tech is having issues. They had a young team that year. But looking at Fremont, they should be in the Silver Bowl this year. Ed over at Castlemont had a young team that should be really good, but it depends on how it plays out and what he brought in for this new season. I see Fremont being in the Silver Bowl, but they're not alumni. They're not alumni, so
that's why I said they got big shoes to fill, baby. Shout out to Coach Ed. Coach Ed. You know what we know, baby.
Yeah, so they there. So definitely you got Ed. Oh, hold on. There's, hey, you know what? All the coaches in the OEL are alumni except the Fremont coaches, right? Phil was alumni at Tech.
Omari was alumni at Mac. Omari was alumni at Oakland High.
Oakland High, right? And he's over at Fremont. So
who's at Oakland High now?
They have the new coach. I'm not sure. They got a new coach. I'm not sure if he's alumni or not.
Jace gave it up?
Yeah, Jay's gone. Jay's gone. Yeah, Jay's gone.
Kenny, what happened? That should have been you, baby.
Ken don't want them problems.
Hey, my days of being out in the rain are over. I'll coach some basketball, but I'm not coaching football.
Hey, but man, thanks for coming on, Gene, and giving us that extra time, man.
Appreciate you guys having me, man. Y'all doing a wonderful job. Shout out to the Rec Center.
All right, Gene.
All righty.
And that's major insightful, man. We thinking Ricky Henderson played Oakland Bay Roof days. That's what I thought. It wasn't even Oakland Bay Roof. It was Little League baseball. Okay.
Little League. They didn't even have a name for it.
Man, yeah, definitely, man. And definitely shout out, man, to Gene for coming on with all of the insight, man. I feel we do got to get a couple more from that era, man. Now we need a basketball player from the era.
Was that 86? Gary Payton, where you at? Gary Payton, you just took over Lincoln University. You the head coach. You around the mid-'80s. Come on the show.
Yeah. That mean he's in Oakland, Ken. I might just got to pull up.
Pull up.
You remember we talk about because we text GP.
I texted him. My his right hand man. I texted his right hand man.
Yeah, we got to get GP. We need Jay Ryder, man. We still need GP. We still need Eddie House on Ryder, man. Ryder, get them fours on there, man. We had Zarek, come on with your uncle if you got to, man. Don't hide from it this time.
Man. I think all of Oakland wants ZP to come on, man. That'll be a funny episode.
Man, ZP shook us like some dice that day, man. ZP shook us like some dice, man. But hey, man, thanks for the Rec Center, man. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Yeah, it's all good, man. We appreciate Coach Gene coming on, man. Gene Denard. You can catch us on Instagram at the Rec Center Podcast. Also, again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Rec Center. I'm Kenny Edwards for Lorenzo Parham. We